And Georgia law stated that this is a at-will state, but we did a merit system. We have that in place now, a merit system, and you just cannot fire a person unless there's a reason to fire this person. So she was under the merit system, but they came in and one of them did not like her, and they terminated her just like that. They had a special call meeting, and boom, they did. We had
you agree with me that happened across the state. That happened in just about every county in Georgia. We got more counties than any state in the country. Commissioners hire and fire folks all the time, and a lot of it's political. And we will thoroughly look at that, but I don't want to mislead you. The likelihood that the Department of Justice or my office would initiate an action over to challenge an action by an elected body is not regret. If they did it with the appropriate number of votes.
We're just asking you to come and look at it today. That's what we're asking you to come here, listen to what's being communicated, and if you agree to look at it, that's 1,000 yards ahead of where we were before you got here.
Yeah. One thing I would say is that, I understand you guys have specific instances of people and stories and certain problems. Those are best addressed directly to the agencies, because the agencies and the personnel that are here today, they have the expertise that could maybe at least provide guidance on individual situations. And like Mr. Tarver said, when it comes to significant pattern and practice issues, we have contacts, because we are at the end of the Department of Justice. We have contacts within the Civil Rights Division, and then they have their employment sections and special litigation that look into police actions and actions of local government. So to echo Mr. Tarver one more time is that we welcome the documentation on any widespread pattern and practice that we can look at.
In this portion of the session, I just wanted to point out systemic effort of deprivation. We'd like to introduce the ex-county tax commission. Are you still the county tax commission? Why?
Because they removed from office on the basis of, they said that $141,000 was missing, but then they could never find out why. And
when you say they, you mean the county commission?
yes, the judge.
The judge was removed.
The judge did, and on the basis that the county commissioner said that the funds were not turned over every 2 weeks, which when I got in office, I was operating under the same system that the previous tax commissioner was white. So then now they have a tax commissioner. They removed me from office, but they have a tax commissioner now. That's a white lady.
Is the tax commissioner appointed or elected?
Elected. And she did the same thing. She was not turning over the funds every 2 weeks.
And how were you removed from office?
By the judge.
He put you in jail?
Yes, they did.
I'm just showing the systemic
Yes,
government.
they did.
Yes.
They brought criminal charges against you for
Yes, they
missing money,
did. Yes.
and then you were removed.
Yes, they did. And then the standing tax commissioner in office now, when she was not turning over the money every 2 weeks, they got upset about it, but nothing was done.
But you
Nothing was
had
said.
to be removed by the governor. Is that correct?
Right.
You were removed from office from the governor after the criminal charges were filed. And then another new tax commissioner was elected.
Yes. And then it was a misdemeanor. So when they came up with the new election, special election, I am qualified to run. And the county attorney, Adam Cochran, who was the county attorney, he filed a petition letter for me, saying that he was against me running for,
He challenged your eligibility.
challenged my eligibility to run, right? And at the same time, when we got with the election board, he was the attorney. He challenged my election, but then was the attorney that handled the case to determine that I was not.
So he made the challenge, and he was also the attorney for the election board.
He was also the attorney for the election board. He did both. He was the attorney for the election board that made the decision, and he challenged the election.
What year did that take place?
That was in 1999, 2000. 99, yeah, 99, April 1999.
What about the auditor and the bookkeeper?
Oh, when the $141,000 or $1,000 that they said was missing, I found the error first. I called the bookkeeper. The bookkeeper is the county, at that time was the county's auditor. So the bookkeeper didn't come when I asked him to come in to review the books to see where the problem was. But after the county commissioners who he does business for, several of them, they asked him to come in, they brought the GBI in and everybody else in, and they did not, to my knowledge, question the auditor. And he was my bookkeeper. He was the auditor and the bookkeeper. So, they never did anything with the auditor or the bookkeeper, to my knowledge. And I think he's still the auditor now for the sheriff department, whom the sheriff was a previous county commissioner that.
So tell me, what are you suggesting? Are you suggesting that the auditor and the bookkeeper was complicit in the missing funds as well, and they should have been held accountable like you were held accountable?
Yes, because, he never came in and did, all he did was come in and say he was performing an audit. And then they called another auditor after he took all the paperwork out of the office, which I found out later was against the law, that they were supposed to remove, without my permission, all of the paperwork. They took everything out of the office.
What is your name again?
Sure, Atkinson.
All of the bank statements went to the auditor for the bookkeeper. She did not get the bank statement.
And we'd like to just show one more systemic effort against African Americans in public offices. As you heard, former Commissioner Grosvenor stated, he's former commissioner. You're not the commissioner any longer on the former commissioner?
No, sir, I'm not.
And why is that, sir?
Well, I ran in the election, and somehow or another, first of all, I'm Nathaniel Grove. I'm an ordained G-R-O-V-N-E-R. I'm an ordained elder of the gospel. I was a pastor, a retired school teacher, a community leader. And I taught those under my boys to always tell the truth. but the truth will set you free. The word of God says to me, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Another passage in Psalms states, he that telleth lies will not carry in God's eyesight.
You saying that you ran for office and you were not re-elected?
I was not re-elected.
And you didn't get enough votes to be the victor?
Right.
And are you alleging some type of election fraud or improper behavior that you don't do?
No, I'm just giving you a background of my background information.
Honestly, I would never question your veracity, but I want to understand, why weren't you re-elected?
Because they played up that I had committed a perjury charge, a felony, in that election.
So your opponent told a lie?
Yes. And what happened in the general election held on November 4, 2008, I worked extremely hard to see history in the making, where an African American for the first time had the opportunity to help elect an African American president, Barack Obama. In that general election was a candidate by the name of Richard Lawson, an African American who ran for soil conservation and lost by 1 vote. After absentee ballots were counted, Lawson asked those of us watching the counting of absentee ballots, did we see any irregularities in the counting of absentee ballots? I, along with 2 others, told him, yes, we saw an irregularity. We saw the chairman of the board came and stood in the doorway of the election office and made a statement, oh, look what I found that's got to be counted. I didn't say anything because they had their law enforcement was out in full force that night.
Well, this happened in 2008.
And what did he have?
Yes, ma'am. Ballots in his hand.
One ballot, how many?
Ma'am.
A stack of ballots, how many are you allege?
Well, I'm not going to allege how many. All I knew was a stack of ballots about like this in his hand. He came and stood in the doorway and made a statement, oh, look what I found that's got to be counted.
This happened in 2007, or was it 2008?
2008. When Obama ran for president the first time, it was in 2008. November 4, 2008. And that was the election. Well, I didn't say anything because their police force was out in full force that night. So I just walked out and left the
Did the
election.
candidate raise any type of judicial challenge based upon what you told him?
He raised, after the election was over, he raised concern when he asked if we see any irregularities go on. Several of us, for years, we saw some irregularities.
After you learned about what did you do, did you file a suit or did
We
you?
filed a lawsuit in Superior Court.
What was the result of the suit?
The judge ruled not in his favor, in Lawson's favor. In 2009, Griffin Lawson,
Which judge was it?
Judge Louisa Allen, out of Savannah.
So one of the judges that's dealing on, no, sir.
In 2009, Griffin Lawson took the code of election to Superior Court in Natchitoches County. I am identified by the name of White